Hi, everyone. My name is J Love, and welcome to Turning a Moment into a Movement. This is a safe space where we come every Friday at 6 p.m. to discuss things in regard, well, lately, wrongful incarceration, but also, criminal justice, the need to, the needs for reform. And I'm here with some of my friends. Some of them are just coming in, but welcome. We have these conversations because it's important to have these conversations because these conversations could lead to policy changes and laws changes. So first we have to have the conversation so we'll understand where we need to go. So thank you guys for joining us. We got some comments already. We want to thank, hi Pam. She said, good evening, family.
Thank you.
Lisa Riley said, hello, glad to see you. Hey, Lisa. And Val, hi Val. This is my first time seeing you on. Good evening, everyone. Welcome, you guys. So, greetings to you. So we're gonna get started.
Greetings.
Some of the panel is here. Hello, one more hello. Hello, it's my cousin Juliet Muhammad. Hi, Julie. Oh, before we get started, I want to just say, I'm so happy Gerard is home.
Yes.
Praying for and he's home. It's his birthday, and we're so grateful for that, and happy that he's home with us. And the movement continues. So that's so we're gonna start with you, Trishay.
Hello, Jay.
Are their first time joining us. We have a panel every week, and we're gonna start with you, Trishay. Introduce yourself. Let everybody know who you are doing. And of course, you have an event coming up too. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But go ahead.
All right. Well, first of all, thank you, Jay, for always having a platform and for your continuous to speak truth to power. And just we are so excited because every week we've been doing this show in honor of Gerard, and he is home. I cannot express just the joy that I feel. I can't even imagine what you feel. so happy for you. But again, my name is Trishay Duckworth from Survivors Speak, and we just believe that we should continue to speak truth to power until we see the necessary change that we don't see.
Yes, ma'am.
Amen. That's right.
Next, we have Reverend Tia Littlejohn. Tia, hi, how are you? Uh-oh. Tia, thank you.
Hi.
Hi, how are you? I can hear you. How are you? Introduce yourself. Let everyone know who you are. Uh-oh, Tia got a little delay. Tia, we can't hear you.
I am Littlejohn, and I am so excited to be here. I am a reverend at Transform on the front in.
Tia got something going on. Tia, we're gonna come back to you. You're on the delay. So next we're gonna go down while Tia connection gets reestablished to our next panel member, Attorney Hugo Mack. Hi, how are you?
Hey, it's a great day. I see what you're saying. I see you, my sister. Hey, look, it's a great day. Look, first of all, I just want to say praise God on high. Thank you, Jesus, because I'm gonna tell you, I'm so happy about Gerard. I'm so happy, and I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna show you something personal about myself.
Okay.
Through my own penitentiary experience, my mother's gone on to be with the Lord now, but Ivy Mack believed in her son. She fought. She put all her retirement money from being a nurse to keep me being able to talk on the phone, which is a ripoff, by the way, from the penitentiary. People are paying exorbitant amounts on telephone calls, by the way.
Right.
Governor Whitmer, I hope you're listening. And so and it just it raises my heart, and I think men need to understand how much we owe to women that brought us into this world, women that nurtured us, women that stayed with us. And you hear a lot about broken families, where the dad is not there. But you don't hear about, particularly in our community, quote unquote, broken family where mama's not there. If you notice that, mama is going to keep them babies together no matter what you got to sacrifice. And I'm not ashamed to give homage and respect to women who look like me, to a woman who brought me into the world, who looks like you, Jay, who looks like you, Shay, who looks like you, sister. I'm sorry, I don't know his sister's name up in the right-hand corner here. So please forgive me. But, and the other women. So I'm just saying, I'm so happy. Like I told you and Sam real earlier today, this is a victory for all of us. So you got to move that over. Let us get in there too, because
Come on.
it's a victory for all of us. So Hugo Mack, a criminal defense attorney, not afraid to speak truth to power, no matter consequences. Praise God.
Yes, thank you, Attorney Hugo Mack. So I see Reverend Tia Lil John still trying to get in. So while she's doing that, we're going to go to our special guest who's here with us today, Mr. Edward Barack Sanders.
Yes.
Introduce yourself and tell us. Oh, Allie, I'm coming back to you. And tell us who you are and what you do.
My name is Edward Sanders, and I go by the name of Baraka. I'm a former juvenile lifer without parole. I served 43 years in Michigan prison, in adult prisons as a child, from 17 to just before my 60th birthday. I went to prison in 1975 and came home in 2017. I recently took and graduated from the School of Social Work at the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor here with a master's degree in social work. I have been advocating since I've come home from prison. I've taken pride and remain focused in regards to the largest number of people that are incarcerated as opposed to taking up individual cases. And I'm taking and trying to lend my voice to this cause. And I'm going to have to apologize to you guys. I had another scheduled meeting that I actually thought I missed yesterday, but it's at 6:30. So somewhere after 6:30, I'm going to take and jump off of this. And I apologize for that. I want to take in an acknowledgement that you guys are taking and speaking about innocent. I would like to take and address that at some point, but I believe you still introducing people, so I take and maybe sit back for a minute.
Okay. Next, who is on our panel, just joining our panel, is Allie Hughes, who's also been a guest and a panelist. Now she's a panelist again. Thank you for joining us. Introduce yourself, tell people what you tell the audience what you do, and all that stuff. Go ahead.
Hello, Alexandria. I go by Allie. I'm with Michigan Liberation, work a lot with the Oakland County team, but found myself all over the place. So you'll see me a lot in Wayne County as well. And I also am with Accountability for Dearborn. And I fight this fight because there is a cycle of hate that continues that needs to stop, and that targets Black people and people of color. and that harms our well-being and mental health.
Right.
And also, I'm a firm believer that a woman's body is not a group discussion. And I try to uphold that at all points of time. And I'm really glad to be here. And I just want to say I'm proud of you, Jay, for how strong you've been, keeping the energy going, keeping these things going, and keeping that fire for Gerard. Yeah, just really proud of you and glad to be in all of you guys' presence.
Thank you.
Thank
you so much, you guys. It's so humbling, you know, all the support and people who have been supporting me and Gerard since this all happened. And so I want to thank everyone for that. And also for all the mothers and other people who have loved ones that are still incarcerated. I just want you to know that, you know, the movement is still continuing. We are still standing with you and fighting with you. And we're not going to stop until your loved one is out and that the wrongfully incarcerated are exonerated.
That's right.
So, Reverend T, I see you made that. Okay, we can't hear you. Can't hear you. So let's get started. And when Reverend Tia, when she finally gets in, she can introduce herself. But Attorney Hugo, Matt, we're gonna start with you. We're talking about today government official misconduct that convicts innocent people. Can you explain to the viewers and us what does that mean? Misconduct, government misconduct. How does it happen? Who are involved? And why are people wrongfully incarcerated from this?
Well, first of all, let me give you the perspective of a practitioner, criminal defense attorney, you know. The misconduct is such a widespread cancer, if you will, on the criminal justice system. It's hard to know where to start. You know what I mean? It's almost like taking spaghetti, a strand of spaghetti out of a bowl of spaghetti. It's hard to know where to start. So what I wanted to do is I just want to tell you an example of where it begins, all right? Okay. It begins with the police officer. It begins with the police officer. When that encounter happens with you and the police, they are the first determiners of whether there is conduct or misconduct, all right? And anytime a police officer steps outside of their role of protect and to serve, to be a soldier, there's between a soldier and a police officer. And that's the problem we have right now, the militarization of the police. Because I'm guaranteeing you, every time a citizen is stopped, 99% of the time, with all due respect to my brothers and sisters in law enforcement, it is not totally with let me help you, let me assist. It's a suspicion there. And a suspicion they've been trained to be suspicious and to be confrontational as soon as authority is threatened. So the misconduct starts with the police officer that makes the pretext stop, all right? Okay. Saying, well, you know, Miss Duckworth's tail light was out. Well, whether it was really out or not, the bottom line is you thought I was a black woman who had no business in that kind of car or being in that neighborhood, and you use that as a reason to stop her. The problem that defense attorneys have, it is so hard for us to prove that, okay? It is so hard to prove that because if an officer says Ms. Duckworth did not put her left turn signal on, you know, there's no camera that's activated on a patrol car, so it becomes the police officer's word against Ms. Duckworth's word, and I guarantee you Ms. Duckworth 9 times out of 10 is going to lose that confrontation. Okay, so the misconduct starts, J. Love, with the police officer, and police officers knowing that society, prosecutors, and judges have got their back. That's where it starts, you know, because if a kid is in a candy store, steals some bubble gum, ain't nobody saying nothing. Go back for some jujus, ain't nobody saying nothing. Next thing you know, he bringing a bag in there, unloading, and ain't nobody saying nothing. So that's where we have to focus on, the police officer. Holding those police officers accountable, taking away their immunity, holding police officers on a registry where they know that if they get caught, there's going to be a price to pay for we in society. So that's what starts it. And there is no prosecutor that is going to put forth a case unless they've got police backing them up. The problem is a lot of police and prosecutors are in bed together. They are, you know, and they got a symbiotic relationship. So it's a big problem, and I'd love to talk about it some more as we go on. But that police officer is the first place we got to start.
Okay, and Mr. Sanders, would you like to add to that?
Yes, and Attorney Hugo is very much correct. It is like a pot of spaghetti, and it's not just simply about the individual, but it's about the policies and so forth, and the training, the conditioning that's going on here. As African Americans, you know, we have been very angered to take and put people in positions that look like us.
Mm-hmm.
But we got to get over that now. We got to get over that. It's good to take and put someone in office that look like you, that look like mom, that look like grandma and uncle, etc. But we have to also take and be concerned with policies. See, because you can put someone in there that look like either one of you here tonight, but that person can pick up the policy of the racist and implement it. And in fact, that's exactly what happened in Wayne County too often. If you look at the Wayne County Prosecutor's Office, we have more people out of Wayne County that are convicted that turn around and then be exonerated as innocent than all of the counties in the state of Michigan put together. And there's a beautiful African American woman that's the head of the prosecutor's office there. And it's not nobody on this forum that isn't proud to have her there, generally speaking, as an African American. But we are hurt and feel betrayed that so many people out of Wayne County is convicted and sentenced that later turn around to be exonerated. And then we have this continuous claim that there are many more. Okay, so this is astonishing, but it's not astonishing. This is why I use, and I don't own the rights to the phrase, you know, deconstruct, reconstruct, and construct. I don't own that phrase. I believe Dr. Naeem Akbar borrowed it from someone, and he took and used it in his own writings and lectures. And I believe he borrowed it from somebody in economics. Okay, but he used it in psychology, and I'm using it here in criminal justice reform. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
when I say that we need to deconstruct, is that the first thing we need to take and be conscious of is that the laws that are working that seem to be so unjust, they're working just as they were intended to.
Right.
We wasn't included. We wasn't included. You know, every effort to include us has always been a compromise. Even the 13th Amendment, it includes an exceptionary clause, okay, or an exclusionary clause, except those who are lawfully convicted and sentenced, okay? And immediately following that clause and the understanding and knowledge of that clause was what we recognize to be Jim Crowism.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it follows that. It follows that. If you go back to the United States Supreme Court ruling that took and upset at the idea where you had a former slave that took and went into a free state, and he took and tried to exonerate himself from his former slave master's widow, who was still claiming his proceeds after he'd have married and moved on. She was looking for him to make money to send back to her. You my slave now. My husband gone, he dead, but you still mine. And the United States Supreme Court validated that 7 to 2. They said that, hey, you know, there's no free slave anywhere. There's no free black person anywhere in the United States, and any claim is unconstitutional. Okay, but as opposed to taking and trying to give a history lesson, because I'm really a student as opposed to a teacher, the point is that if we're going to get serious about criminal justice reform, we got to get serious about taking and identifying and advocating policies.
Right.
And we have to have those policies implemented into law. Like we got right here in Washington County, where I'm at now, We have the young lady that we took and ran for prosecutor in Wayne County,
Victoria Harris.
Burton Harris.
Mm-hmm.
Very proud of and very supportive of her, and her protege here in Washington are implementing, astonishing policies today.
Right.
We need those policies to proceed from policies to law, but that's our responsibility.
Right.
To continue that. They have at least heard our voice. They have heard our voice. Went into office, like even the day they took and made an announcement that they're not going to be running behind consenting adults, spending their resources to arrest consenting adults that's engaging in sex behavior.
Right.
But they'll be more concerned, not that they saying that they think that this is illegal, that it should go on, but they're saying that, hey, our real resources is finna go after the sex slaves. We finna go after those who are grabbing young girls off the street and young boys off the street and enforcing them into sex slavery.
Right.
That's the priority, not the young lady that's out on the corner or the young man that's out there on the corner selling his or herself with another consenting adult. It's sad, but the resources have to be put in the proper place. The same thing is going on in our community. We have prosecutors running after the little young kid with the side pistol, but they ignore the truck that comes in that's filled with guns on the back of the truck. Okay, so we more so concerned with taking and apprehending that young brother to the extent that we done overcrowded Michigan prisons with young African Americans for gun offenses. And when they come home, they'll never again be able to take and have a gun to protect their wives and their children. They'll never again be able to take and protect their properties. This is a shame. We need to take and quit allowing this system to criminalize us and then use it to take away all the constitutional rights that we have. We are arguing about a single piece. These fools are taking and asking for military weaponry. They have the luxury to take and ask for weaponry that you would use in a battlefield. And here we don't even have a side piece to tell someone to get off mama's porch. We can't stop somebody from entering into her home. So we got this mixed up.
Mm-hmm.
Mixed up every time we see a problem in our community. We keep going back to Uncle Sam and asking Uncle Sam to fix it. We did that on the plantation, and that wasn't in our interest. Right. It wasn't in our interest then, and it ain't in our damn interest now. We got to get together and start addressing these little young brothers and sisters in the community, and we have to have the courage to do it. Okay? Right. We have to have the courage to do it, all of us. The preacher have to have the courage to do it. The imam have to have the courage to do it. The community activist, the teacher, everybody, mama, daddy, grandma, uncle, all of us have to have the courage to take and stand up with our own children. Right. Abortion ain't the decision. Sending our children to prison for the rest of their natural life. I found it hard to take, even though I wanted Trump ass gone, I found it hard to take and vote for the present president we got.
Right.
That criminal law that he bragged about, that he legislated, that he got through, it included children like me at 17 years old and younger for the rest of their natural life.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I may have already been in prison when he promulgated that, but it kept me in there longer, and it brought other kids into the place that I was in, that I was hoping would never join me there. Okay, we have to take and address this, and we have to start taking and asking the people that we put in office. I don't want Kim Worthy doing what was did in the 40s and the 50s, where when they don't get people in the community to cooperate with them in crime investigation, they arrest the witnesses to the crime. That happened here in the city of Detroit. The person that you all cried recently to have come home, Kwame Kilpatrick, well, remember, he rebuked it, Dennis Archer, for taking and calling the Justice Department, which Dennis Archer was right to do. He called the Justice Department and said, hey, I can't get my Detroit Police Department to quit arresting the citizens in the city of Detroit because they won't cooperate with them. So they arresting them without any probable cause. They arrest them for the exact crime that they investigated. Or you won't be my witness, then you the defendant. Okay? Then you the defendant. Do you know how many people's in our prisons that are in prison under circumstances like that? Okay? And Kwame turns around and rebuked it. He rebuked it, Dennis Archer, for doing that. So you should never take and call a Justice Department on your own police. Who put Kilpatrick ass in jail? The police. The same police that he was standing up and defending. They were using policies that came into practice before other Black people like you and me had the opportunity to hold these positions. We got to ask them, if we put you in office, do not pick up Uncle Sam's bone. Find your own damn bone and deal with your own community. And this is what I mean by deconstructing and reconstructing and construct. We have to construct in our own damn interest.
Right.
If other people don't send their own criminals to prison for the rest of their entire life, why do we?
Right.
Why do we? We
Right.
send the dope man to prison. And it ain't the dope man. We mostly done sent our damn junkies to prison for the rest of their damn life for having drugs on their person. We done sent our kids to prison for the rest of their damn life. We charged them with 4 or 5 gun offenses for having one gun. We get them for CCW, felony firearm, felony in the possession of a firearm, obliterating the serial number off a firearm, and importing the firearm into the damn state. And the kid ain't never been off the block. Okay, because he got a gun that was manufactured in Wisconsin, that's 5 years. Because the gun, before he got it, somebody wiped off the serial number, that's 5 years. Come on, it's ridiculous.
Right. You're right. And so this, what we're talking about, you guys, today is misconduct by government officials that lead to innocent people being wrongfully incarcerated. There was a report that was issued that came out September of last year that said 54% of exonerees official misconduct contribute to false convictions, usually more than one type of misconduct. Black exonerees were more likely to experience misconduct. And that's kind of what you were talking about, how the deck start getting stacked against you. And it's happening more so in Black communities. So Allie, because I know you work with Dearborn Accountability, and Livonia, you've been out there doing stuff. And Attorney Hugo Matt said it earlier that it started with the police stop. I'm gonna let you take it from there.
Yeah, it definitely starts with the police, and then every city. I'm an all-around activist. I belong to certain orgs, but I very much help communities and be a part of things that just are a problem, because honestly, everywhere just needs to change. Mm-hmm. So being in Livonia, being in Dearborn, being in Oakland County and Southfield and Farmington Hills, it's always the same. The data is the same. That these politicians can act different along each area, but the data is the same. It's Black people that's being targeted by the police. It's 50%, 40%. It's never an equal number. Areas we don't even be at. Like, we're not in Livonia like that. The population of Livonia is not very Black at all. It's less than 10% Black and less than 5%. Same thing with Dearborn. It's 3%. And seeing that we're half of those who receive tickets, half of those who are arrested, seeing that there's a whole department dedicated to pulling people over that are crossing into Dearborn, the border, as they call it, Detroit. So it's like, we know what's happening. And seeing that there's clearly a police chief in Dearborn and Livonia that don't want to do anything. City officials don't want to do anything. So it's clear that this is where it's starting. Mm-hmm. And back to back to what was being said about us doing something, we can't rely obviously on the justice system to just fix this overnight. Mm-hmm. So we need to think like it's now or never. And that's how I think, like it's now or never. So I try to operate off of we keep us safe. Mm-hmm. In every org I'm in, every group, I try to operate off that. So if it's me getting training in terms of, say, assisting somebody with mental disabilities, then I need to get the mental health first aid training. I need to go and get that. It's me trying to have these abilities to help people in my community and help other people around me. Because right now we cannot depend on the police. We need to start thinking about other resources that are out there, because they are out there.
Right.
But that's how this misconduct is happening. Like there's nothing holding them accountable. Nothing. I've been advocating a lot for accountability, like for qualified immunity to be ended. That's where I'm at. Because, you want me to just deal with your police department, be okay with this. You don't want to defund the police. You don't like that word. It's too much for you. Okay, so am I supposed to just take it? Can you at least hold these people accountable?
Right.
Can you at least hold the mayors accountable?
Right.
You can warn. There's a whole city council person who impersonated an officer and held a woman at gunpoint, at a Trump rally, and he's still on city council.
Wow.
There's no accountability. There's no end of qualified immunity. So they just get to do whatever.
Right.
So, so it's just time. It's really time
right.
For accountability.
Absolutely.
And yeah.
So from the report that was issued, it stated that 30% of exonerations included misconduct by prosecutors, 35% misconduct by police, 3% by forensic analysis, and 2% by child welfare workers. Those are from people who have been exonerated. This came from the Registry of Exonerations. Trisha, would you like to chime in?
Those numbers that you speak of, that's the National Registry.
Yeah.
And these are the numbers nationwide. And we pulled those numbers in 2019 here in Michigan, 48.9%. Let me say it again, just in case you didn't hear it. 48.9% of exonerations were due to prosecutorial misconduct. So we have a huge problem. See, here's the thing. And I was on this panel last night, and they said the biggest thing is that these individuals have too much power. They run in these areas uncontested year after year after year. And why? Because we don't make the prosecutor's office our business. Mm-hmm. Every town, every city, every county, you need to make the prosecutor's office your business.
Yeah.
You can trust and believe the people that frequent that office look like us.
Right.
We cannot wait on, and I think some people have said it, we can't wait on people to save us.
Right.
We can't just elect people and just say, okay, they're rolling out some great policies and this is so wonderful. Yeah, it's wonderful, but we got to stay at the table and holding them accountable, because what good is a policy for a assistant prosecutor who won't follow the policy, right? Mm-hmm. So there's always work to do, and that looks like us being accountable. I always bring them up, the Veazey brothers, right here in Washtenaw County. They were coerced. The witnesses in that case were coerced by an officer. So going back to what you said, Brother Hugo, they were coerced by an officer. And then because the officer and the prosecutor's office are in bed with each other, they knew that these people were lying. The doggone witnesses were the one who completed the act. And they knew this. And I'll never forget Brian Mackey. I was at a forum, and I pulled him to the side and I said, hey man, this is probably 2015. I said, this is not right. He, here, take my card. Gave me his home email address, and he emailed me back and forth. Do they have an Innocence Project? Do they have a lawyer? I said, you the Innocence Project.
Right.
They're innocent, and you need to let them out. And I told him, you need to put the horse before the carriage, because when it comes out, it is going to stain your entire tenure. don't think they won't look back into all of your cases. But
Right.
none of this stuff happens unless we rise up, use our voices, stay at the table, and hold these folks accountable, all while empowering our own communities.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yes.
Amen. That's right. That's right.
Tia.
Yes, I am here.
Yay!
Yay! And I just went all natural with the regular phone. So here we are. I just wanted to say thank you, Janice, and thank you, Gerard. I just thank you for the purpose of God that is unfolding in his life, because I am knowing that what he experienced was not in vain, and that many people, there's change happening because of what he experienced, and that his purpose and your purpose have been intertwined for this dispensation.
Yes,
The
Lord.
time is now, and I really believe that, especially after this week's activities, we could see that the landscape was changing, and that now we have more people at the table.
Yeah.
Because we can't make a change until we're at the table. When it comes to, my thing with this is that we have to realize that there is a huge history behind these leaders not being held accountable.
Yeah.
The history is so long. So you go back to President Hayes, and it's funny how they worded in the when you look at the history books, and what they say about President Hayes is that he negotiated the political agreement to end federal support for Reconstruction. Now, when I word it like that, it doesn't seem like, it seemed like he did a wonderful thing. He negotiated support to end the federal support for Reconstruction. When they ended the federal support for Reconstruction, they ended the protection for African Americans.
Mm-hmm.
So then no longer were the police held accountable. No longer was anybody held accountable for actions done against Black people.
Mm-hmm.
And so because of this is since the 1800s, having a habit of policing, incarcerating, abusing, misusing African Americans. So yes, it's in the mindset, and no longer can we accept that they don't know.
Right.
And somebody else said that earlier, and I appreciate that. We can no longer accept that you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But we do want to hold the police accountable to the policies that are written, because we are held accountable.
Right.
And then I'm trying to see what's going to happen to all these people who stormed the Capitol. I'm waiting to see I was waiting to hear the chains or the keys that were going to lock up Trump as they were swearing in the new president.
Right.
So I think across the board, it's accountability time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's time for people, they need to let our people go. Yeah. And so I stand in the fight with you, and knowing that this is not going to die down. This is not going to go away. We will be victorious.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So we had a question, and I want, any of you guys to speak on it. This was Yolanda A.G. Douglas. Her question is, how do I get involved? Allie or Trisha or anyone?
So I can tackle that one just real quick, and then somebody else can take it. I think what happens is when people think about getting involved in this justice fight, they think about all of the protesting and all of that, and when they see that, they're like, oh, well, I'm not an activist. And so you are an activist. Whatever gift or talent that you have, that is what you utilize in this fight. Once you understand and you learn that gift and that talent, you take that talent, you lend it to the fight by way of organizations, getting to, you know, connected with organizations, or by way of speaking up at city council meetings, speaking up at your county commissioner meetings. You got to understand your county commissioners hold the purse strings for the county. They don't want giving all that money to the police department or your county sheriff's department to run the sheriff's department. So no, we've got to be in the light of all of these things, and then we have to get involved. And I'm going to actually put in the chat, we had one last week, and it's a forum. It's called Are You an Activist? And it helps people to understand the different levels of activism. This time we're going to display a lot of different things through the arts. You can do activism through the arts, through paintings, through dance, through whatever it is that your hands find to do, you do it. And you come together and you unite with other like-minded individuals. And that's how we get the work done. We get it done together.
Exactly.
Absolutely. I agree with that. Everything she said. Yeah, it's whatever skills you got, whatever talents you got, they're all useful for the movement. There's things certain people can't do that others can do, and that is so beneficial. Personally, I know. Yeah, you can definitely go to the Are You an Activist event. That's a great resource to network and connect with different people that are involved in orgs. Also, you know, any of the organizations we're with, Michigan Liberation, you can reach out to their Facebook page, and also Accountability for Dearborn, same Facebook page name. But yeah, absolutely, whatever gifts you have to bring to the table will help.
And I just want to add that for me, I didn't have a book or a plan. I just knew that an injustice was done. And when they caught and said my son was guilty, in my mind, I can just hear the voice saying, they don't know who they're messing with. And I knew from that moment, I had to speak up. Now, Tia, you know, she's been with me on this journey for a long time. And in the beginning, I cried, you know, for days. Every time I would go to church, I wasn't speaking it. I was just crying. I had to get that part of it out because I needed the rest of it to, so I can, it helped me build my strength up so I can be what I am today. So I'm just saying that, you know, don't, you know, people are telling you, you know, you need to do this, or you need to have this, or you should have studied. No, all you need is a belief in something and a voice. That's it. You start right there. I believe so strongly in this that I will speak out or for it or against it. Start there, you know, or connect with people. And that's how I met Trisha. I started connecting with people. I started looking for people who did what I needed, you know, and I was everywhere. I used all my media platforms to connect with these people. So, you know, connect, find an interest that you're interested in, and find those people, find that group. Your vibe attracts your tribe. And you can start there as well. You know, it's our job as humans. It is our duty to, you know, stand up for those who are being treated with injustice. It is our duty to be the voice for the voiceless. Attorney Matt, do you want to add anything to that?
Not much, you know, because I tell you, it's just so powerful. And, you know, I would just encourage you all to, if you've got a situation in the criminal justice system, vet your attorneys, you know, even if say, well, we got a public defender, we can't afford anybody. Well, I mean, I was a public defender for well over a decade. So not everybody needs to be painted with a broad brush, because every case for me was personal. It wasn't just business, it's personal, okay? Right. So, but you know, a lot of people say, well, I'm going to save my money and get a private attorney for my son or daughter. That's wonderful. But just because you paying a private attorney doesn't mean that you're getting the service you deserve. All right. So don't be afraid to vet your lawyer. Like, you know, well, what's going on? What are your theories of the case? You know, are there witnesses, you know, we're going to be able to get? Because everybody who takes that oath, all right, everybody who takes that oath, all right, for the privilege of practicing law is supposed to be committed to justice. And this is the number one criticism I have of other attorneys that are prosecutors and other attorneys that are judges, all right? I told you before, one of the main problems we have in terms of misconduct, not only from the police, not only from the prosecutor, but it can come from the bench itself, all right? And it is the highest form of misconduct when you run for judge on a platform like you running for sheriff. Two totally different positions. And I'm just going to warn you, anytime you see a candidate running for judge who talks about, I'm law and order, I want to be tough on crime, don't you only not vote for him, you get all your people not to vote for him or her either, because that's not what they're there for. They're not there to be tough on crime. They're there to administer justice. So I'm going to get off this soapbox before I use up all of our time. But please be diligent, my brothers and sisters, be diligent.
Yeah, you're correct. That's correct. I was just talking to someone earlier, and I said that, you know, people are up in arms about us saying defund the police. But, you know, the police, you know, I saw something on the news and something happened in Detroit. And the police showed up like special ops. They were, you know, in military gear. And we're not calling special ops to our homes. We don't want them to show up. And when we call for the police, or if so people don't want to, because that's what shows up at your home. We're looking for somebody who's coming to protect and serve. And with these mindsets of military and special ops, looking cops, this is how the disconnect happens. And this is how wrongful incarceration and wrongful convictions happen. Because of these mindsets and these views that we have of what the police look like. You know we have crime, but we don't have armies. And we don't have armies committing crime. We have individuals, people committing crime. Sure. So, Triste, you had your hand up.
I did, and I was going to say something about what Hugo just said.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I mean, but I think the most important thing that he said was that we have to mobilize. We have to organize against these individuals who practice who render continual injustice in our communities. And, you know, I have someone chastise me because I said that we could fire a public official, and they said, but that's just not true. And there are many steps to it. And I said, but the ultimate goal is, if we organize, if we mobilize, we can take that seat. We can groom our people, put our money behind them, and get them in that seat, which means what? That person's fired? All right. And not only that, there's a recall process. These are all things that can happen, but because it's not business as usual, this is not how we operate. We've got to start training ourselves and knowing exactly what we can do when we hold individuals accountable and they continue to show us they do things their way. If they do things their way, then that's when we need to come back and do things our way and unseat them, because they serve that. Thank you, Holy Spirit. They serve at the will of the people.
Of the people.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
Yes, okay, Attorney Hugo.
Well, look, I'm sorry. I'll wait. But if you let me talk, I'd like to say this.
Okay.
Following up on what Trichet said, you see, and see, the problem is, I've heard a high-ranking judge in my own county of Washtenaw say, well, you know, when people get elected judge, you know, essentially that is a lifetime position. You know what? Let me tell you something. Circuit court judges are elected every 6 years. The only lifetime positions are federal judges, which are appointed, all right? And even they can be impeached. Even they can be impeached, okay? So what I'm saying is this. Part of the problem is, and I'm just going to speak about my community, honestly, whether people like it or not. Part of the problem is we become so accustomed to the status quo. When we have somebody that steps up from our ranks, we don't want to accept and support them because we've been conditioned to accept the status quo. There should be no judgeship, all right? No prosecutor's office, no sheriff's office, no commissioner's office, no city councilman or woman's office that goes blanketly unchallenged, that deprives the people of an opportunity to choose. And I want to encourage people, so, well, you know, I ain't nobody, they ain't gonna vote for me. Put your voice out there. You might be surprised how many people feel the way you feel. And we need to put a message in all these elected officials' positions. You are elected for a period of time. And if we don't like you, we will mass and get your ass out of there. Excuse me. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let me try to follow that. No, I was going to go back to the defunding the police comment, how people are so against it. People, okay, against it, okay. They don't realize, or do they want to realize, and maybe they just, you know, the status quo, they just comfortable with that. It could be that too. But, you know, more than 200 million was put into the police department in 96 when Clinton was president. More than 96, $200 million in grants, more than that for each state in the US. And then on top of that, you know, increased police departments, at least the staff by 20%, you know, roughly that, a little bit more. So you think of that and people say we shouldn't defund the police. When all this money was put into them and states were given incentives for having tough on crime bills, Michigan included, the truth to sentencing bill, still here, like the truth, that's still around. So that's a product of the 94, the 96 crime bills.
Right.
That's why we're trying to defund the police. This is not made up, things made up out of the blue. This is based on the systems that were put in place to keep Black people down. And they're still trying to do that. And we're trying to dismantle that.
Yes. Tia.
Yeah, you know, what I was going to say was that we have to have an agenda. What does the defunding, not just defunding, but even reformation, when you reform a system, what does that look like? Because when I look at a lot of the some police that are holding a gun, that are walking with a badge on, mentally, where are they? Why is it that police officers across the board experience high rates of suicide? Which usually, if you have suicidal ideations for the everyday person, then you are mentally unstable. Why is it that in reading some of the backgrounds of the people who stormed the Capitol and went in, had mental illness, but yet we employ and trust these people with our lives? So we need an agenda that says this is what reforming looks like. We defund, yes, but not only take the money, but we need to restructure, give you a new blueprint of how this is supposed to be run.
Right. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Allie, did you want to piggyback off of that?
No, yeah, I completely agree. We need defund and reinvent the wheel. And that looks different for everywhere. Looks different depending on where you are. What that looks like in Detroit is different than Dearborn as is Southfield. So it's hard to pinpoint how it will look overall, but what I can say is putting the funds back into the community, putting it in public health, you know, declaring racism a public health crisis in all cities. That's number one. Because then you can start to look at racism through the lens of all. You can look at every department in the city through a lens that racism exists in each of them. And then the funds start going back to the community. Mental health specifically, that should not be something the police are responding to. That should actually be the first thing, first power, like that shouldn't even be a debate, but it is. But yeah, public health, and it looks different for each community, but dividing funds equally among each department in the city, giving people resources to do things that they need to do. Taking the bus, that is taken away from a lot of suburban cities to keep to keep minorities out. If you look at who takes the bus often, it's people that are Black and brown.
Right.
And you look at the cities that don't have it, and it's pretty convenient. Yeah, pretty convenient. It's not written that it wants to stop at a certain. So, you have to, every city has these things.
Yeah.
So it's different everywhere.
I wanted this quote came to me while Ali and Tia was talking. It says, genuine equality means not treating everyone the same, but attending equally to everyone's different needs.
Right.
That's equality.
Yes.
Right.
Shay, I thought I saw you doing. No?
Well,
Attorney, here go, Matt. Go ahead.
I just want to say this one thing. Do not let conservatives and neocons trap you into a debate of either or.
Right.
When we talk about addressing funds and redirecting funds to the police, then next time somebody break into your house, call a hippie. I mean, that's what they did, and I'm dating myself now in the Nixon years, okay? See, I'm dating myself, not the Nixon years, okay? And what I want all people to know, particularly Black people to know, you pay taxes at an inordinate rate. You pay food taxes, housing taxes, the worst health, okay? The worst air to breathe, by the way. Look at the incinerators that surround the city of Detroit, all right? All the asthma, heart disease, hypertension. So you, of all people, except perhaps maybe Native Americans, have got a right to have police protection in your neighborhood, all right? So don't let anybody tell you, well, you're talking about defunding or diverting funds, therefore you're taking away public safety. That's not true. You have a right to public safety and humane safety at the same time.
Yes.
So don't let anybody trap you into that. Well, we're going to take money away from the police, therefore we're not going to send the police to your neighborhood. No, we have a right to police in our neighborhood, but the humane treatment of citizens in our neighborhood.
Right.
Yeah, that's a common argument they try to throw back at you all the time.
That's right. That's right.
All the time.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? I'm glad that he said that. I think that is so important, and that is one of the educational forums that we need to continue to have within our communities, and that is about the rights that we do have.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of African Americans, a lot of brown people of color are afraid, and they move and react and respond according to their fears.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a history of that. When you look at generational trauma, it's a history of how you respond to the fear. It's a history of the fear. And then it's a history of how we respond to fear.
Mm-hmm.
And some of us are stuck and feel like we can't move and that there's hope, we're hopeless. And so it's educating people to what are your rights? What should you be speaking up about?
Right.
And I think that is so important, because until we become educated, we don't know how to fight. We don't know how to stand. We don't know what to do.
Right. And that's why we're here on Fridays at 6, because we want to educate. We want to inspire and motivate. We want people to know that, just because, what Tia was talking about, some of this stuff is in our DNA from slavery. And it takes, different things that trigger those responses and those trigger the trauma that we don't know where it came from, but it's still, it's in our generation of DNA. So that's why, we're here on every Friday at 6 o'clock. to have these conversations. And some of these conversations are going to be hard conversations, but it's going to trigger us. The goal is to trigger us to move and respond, because the way we've been treated this far by laws and policies that has systemically oppressed us for centuries, years. And now we're at a pivotal point where we can make change. We have, it's right in front of us. And all we have to do is unify, stand together, because there is power in numbers, and speak out what we want, hold people accountable. See, the pushback is because nobody has, haven't held people accountable. And so now we're asking questions. We are awakening to a new day. And we don't want to be treated like this anymore. And people don't get that. Like, what are y'all talking about? What? And no, it's a new day. And it is our responsibility to keep on asking these questions, to keep having these conversations, so you'll know what questions to ask, to open your eyes so you can see, because some of us been walking around with these blinders on, and we didn't even know that we was walking around in injustice, because we had these blinders on. So now, the veil has been lifted, and we got these people in office that also contribute to, the systemic oppressive behavior that have us where we are today. So it's our duty to hold people accountable, especially locally, because all politics is local. So we have to first start here with our people that we are in arm's reach of us. Start holding them accountable. Start asking for transparency. Where is the Brady list? Where you say we got 71 police officers that can't testify in court because they lie so much. Where's the list? Why are they still working? Like, this is our job, because our taxes pay these salaries. So, when you go to work and you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, somebody's going to tap you on the shoulder, or there's going to be some paperwork. There's going to be some accountability. And that should be it. It shouldn't matter what profession you're in. Criminal, justice, police, whatever you do, there should be some kind of accountability. And it's up to us to make it happen. So, I'm going to start with Trisha. No, I'm not going to start with you, Trisha, because I need you to be last, because you got an event. So I'm going to start with Tia. What would you like to leave us with?
Well, what I want to leave us with tonight is no more hiding.
Yes.
And I think that when I look at my own history, my history of my own lineage and my ancestors, the times where we hid and what we hide behind. Sometimes we'll hide behind religion, or we'll hide behind our own selfishness, because everything is going right in our house at a certain time, where we're not able to have empathy with others, where maybe our son didn't get wrongfully accused, but somebody else did, but you can't see it. No more hiding. It's now everybody's held accountable. We need to hold ourselves accountable first, so we can hold somebody else accountable.
Exactly.
And so there's no more hiding. Stop hiding behind religion as if Jesus did not fight for anything. And I tell people all the time, he was radical. He was radical. So if you're trying to hide behind him, that's the wrong person, because if he was walking again today, which he is through many people, he'd be arrested and tried and be guilty and crucified again.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And so we have to know that anytime there is change to a system, that system is being rocked, and people get angry with the change. It's okay. Change is now. There's no more hiding, and we are holding ourselves accountable and everybody else.
Amen. Yeah.
I want to pass the offering plate right quick.
Reverend T is preaching this Sunday too.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I know we had a conversation last Sunday, I think, and I was like, Jesus would have been wrongfully incarcerated.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He was.
He was wrongfully incarcerated.
Yeah.
Let's stop playing. Okay, Allie.
Oh my God. Okay.
What
So
leave us with?
a few things. Okay. One kind of piggy off what Tia was saying in terms of no more hiding. For me, no more hiding behind these policies. Like, it's not you that needs to change. It's not you that needs to take action. Okay, there's policies in place that are bad, that are a lot. Okay, the policies need to change, but you need to get up and turn some of that air you got, some of that energy into action.
Yes.
Like, that's what you need to do. So I think everybody can start doing that now. Hold yourself, to that standard.
Right.
Go into anything involving government officials locally with the energy of you don't get to be complicit with racism. You don't get to sit up there and be a racist. That's how you need to go into things. You don't get to be complicit or be a racist sitting there.
Right.
I go in with that energy and everything because that's just not happening no more. It's just done.
Right.
Like, we're just not taking that no more.
Absolutely.
Don't be afraid to call people out about it. Whether it's someone next to you or it's someone in office and in power. Either way, it's now or never. It has to be done.
Right. And I don't want my money paying the salary and no raises.
Right. Like, it's California, I know. And it gotta go.
I know. Attorney Hugo Mack, what would you like to leave us with?
Well, I want to say this as a man, and as a Black man, to all people, but particularly to Black men that are listening. I, like a lot of other Black boys, didn't have the greatest relationship with my father. We did not have a great father-son relationship, although before he passed, we did make amends, and have more relationship. And I just remember, like, even in scouting, going to picnic or father and son pancake suppers, with a surrogate father who did not look like me. And I'm not ashamed to tell you that. And so I guess what I'm saying is to reach out, don't just assume that every Black boy you see, there's somebody you hear about is a lost cause, okay? Because that could have been me. It could be your son, all right? And we have so much potential, so much greatness in our community, but we need leadership. We need these Black boys and girls to look up and see people that's willing to stand up and know that they can stand up too. So I just encourage everybody to keep on, I know I'm preaching to the choir, but keep on reaching out for people and show them that they can make it if they got the courage to stand up for greater is he in us than he who's in the world.
Yes. Such a shame. What would you like to leave us with? And also, again, tell us about your event.
All right. Thank you, Jay. I got to just piggyback on what my brother said very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at somebody and you don't see potential, you need to look again.
Mm.
If you look at somebody and all you see is the acts that they are committing and you're not looking beyond that, that is on you. That is you needing to change your mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Because we all have areas of opportunity to grow. And we do not know what people have been through to get them to that point of trauma where they are. So if we're going to help each other, we got to do it with love. We got to do it with understanding. And then from there, we can know our role. We don't know who we are if we don't love ourselves. We have to find out who we are and find out what our purpose is in this earth. And so if you're looking for some purpose, on February the 3rd at 6 p.m., we are going to come together and explore. Are you an activist? Of course you are. But you might just need a little bit of inspiration about what to do. So we hope that you come out. We have placed the link to register in the chat. Again, that is February the 3rd at 6 p.m. We are excited, but the only thing that we need is you. We can't do this without you. We can't fight without you. And if you don't know how to fight, we want to lift you up, uplift you, and show you some steps to learn how you can contribute your unique gift to this fight. And then lastly, I want to say this. Somebody said something about triggered, and I wrote a post earlier, and I'll share this with you. I'm triggered. I am triggered deeply by continued injustice, yet motivated to fight to the finish line.
Yeah.
So while triggering and the trauma can be heartbreaking, use that as fuel to continue this fight. We've got work to do, and the only way we can do it is together.
Yes. Yes. Thank you, Trisha.
Thank you, Trisha.
Thank you.
I want to say injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. As we close today, I want to thank everyone for joining us. It is our duty to fight for our freedom. It is our duty to win. We must love, respect, and support each other. We have nothing to lose but our chains. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week. Ali said, turn that air into action. Thank you, Ali. Ali will be back with us next week, right? All right. All right.
I got you.
All right. All right.
All right.
Let me see what this comment is before we leave, because normally when we leave, we have a ton of comments. So let me check this out. Oh, yeah. That was Dina said, yes, we do, sis. We love you, Dina. We're playing for you. And
yes, Dina, we love you, sis.
And Steph, we're holding you up. I think, I don't know if you had COVID or not, but, you know, we're holding you up in our prayers. And our sister Dina, we holding you up. And I, you know, I'm there. She said, thank you, warriors. So, okay, guys, we're out of here. Have an awesome weekend, and we'll see you next Friday at 6 p.m. for turning a moment into a movement. Good night.
Good night. God bless. God bless.